Speed Series for 2025. You've got the white caps, the white horses of Bass Strait crashing into the mainland here of Phillip Island, and there's been a bit of crashing so far today. Chris Stubbs with you, Isabella Lembergen is alongside me. Isabella, how exciting has this been? Welcome to you.
It's been an unbelievable day today already, and what a place to launch this season. Phillip Island never disappoints. Absolutely breathtaking around this circuit, and an icon of Australian motorsport. It is the perfect place to start, and yes, so much action already. We've got international drivers, domestic drivers, and some of the most famous brands in the world in Ferrari, Mercedes, Audi. It just goes on all out there throughout the day, and we've got to see them and how they manage this track here. It's been fascinating to watch.
That's it. So this is round one of the Shannon Speed Series for 2025. As we said, a new era, isn't it, as we really focus in on GT racing. Stop one, Phillip Island. After that, we're going for a bit of a trip.
Yeah, certainly right. We have a massive schedule, so 6 rounds this year. It all begins here at Phillip Island, but then it's to Sydney Motorsport Park, Queensland Raceway, onto Sandown, the Bend, and yeah, finishes across the ditch in New Zealand, which is going to be very fun towards the back end of the year. Obviously, the last round of the season is going to be an important one over in New Zealand, just an hour south of Auckland. So a jam-packed schedule ahead this season, all beginning here at Phillip Island.
That's it, and it really kicked off this weekend as early as Thursday evening as we did our traditional track to town. Now this was awesome. What a great spread of machinery. You touched on some of the marks just then, but the most exotic cars in the world, and we took them to the fans, we took them to the locals, and they loved every moment of it. Getting up close and personal to the stars, getting some photos and some autographs, and there wasn't a penguin to be seen because it was all about the race cars at that time of the week.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to see, and in the community here at Phillip Island, they always come out in droves for this event, so fantastic to see. But we talk about the schedule on track today, Stubbsy. So already this morning it's been qualifying. That's what it's been all about. We've had a race in our Ferrari challenge as well as our radicals. But this afternoon, our attention really shifts to the racing again. So coming up, we've got the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge onto the Monochrome GT4 Australia Series. And then it's all about the GT World Challenge powered by AWS. And judging by this morning's qualifying, Stubbsy, this is going to be so much fun to watch.
Oh, it is. The GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. There was half a second between the top 6 cars. There is so much to look forward to. Bella, the weather, always a talking point.
Yeah, always a talking point. It has been already here this weekend at Phillip Island. We had a downpour overnight. Weren't sure how the conditions were going to be today. A little bit of rain as we walked in, but it's been clear. But the factor has been it's been cool. So we were about 13 degrees this morning, but the feels like was 6 on my phone. So now it's warmed up, thankfully, around that 17 to 19 mark, sort of hovering. But the wind has been playing a factor as well. We've got gusts predicted today up to 60 kilometres an hour. So some challenging conditions, especially with the wind out there for our drivers.
So that's all ahead of us. Speaking of drivers, we've got one of Australia's best drivers as part of our coverage here on the Shannon Speed Series. His name, Thomas Randall. Thomas, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Stubbsy. I'm down here with the General Manager of Ford Performance, Will Ford, who's made the trip down under. Now, I saw you yesterday actually at the 100 Years of Ford in Australia, which was it's a pretty amazing achievement. But Ford Motorsport in Australia, what does it mean to you?
I mean, our whole history in Australia is we're so proud of it. As you said, we've been here 100 years, and we had all the employees out yesterday celebrating with a lot of customers and fans as well. And so this is only my second trip to Australia. It's been 15 years. I was long overdue, so it's great to be back and making it out to Phillip Island today. This is one of the most spectacular tracks I've seen. So it's we've got the Mustang Dark Horse R here, which we're going to be bringing down to Australia through a new one make series. So lot of good stuff, a lot of exciting stuff going on right now.
Yeah, it's amazing how much stuff is going on with Ford in motorsport globally. But just to touch on Ford in Australia with supercars and GT4, that's been taking a massive leap in the last couple of years. How do you see the GT4 platform in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, we hope it's a very successful platform here, and obviously, I think there's a lot of love for Mustang in Australia. We've had it in this market since 1965, since the first days of Mustang, and I think there's a lot of love, amongst Australians for the Mustang platform. So, bringing the Dark Horse R GT4 here, obviously, our commitment to supercars and that amazing series. We're very proud to be here and giving Aussies more chances to race Mustangs.
Look, I think I can, on behalf of all Australians, say that we all love driving V8 Mustangs. I don't think that's no word of a lie, but this Dark Horse GT behind us, this Dark Horse R, I should say, what can you tell us about this one-make championship that you're looking to bring to Australia?
Well, like I said, we want to give people all over the world the opportunity to race Mustang, and it's very important. Mustang's global. It's all over the world, and we need to be racing it. For its credentials as a sports car, we need to be racing it at every level, all over the world. And so, this hopefully will give a lot of aspiring racers the opportunity to participate in our one-make series and then keep climbing up the ladder into GT4, GT3, and stay in the Ford family.
Well, you just led into my next question, Will. When are we going to see a Ford GT3 here in Australia?
We're working on it soon.
Perfect. You can't give too much away.
Yep.
Thanks, Will.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas.
Trying his absolute best to get the inside word there, Thomas Randall. Thank you to him. Great to see Will here, and great to have Ford on board again with the Shannon Speed Series this year. They just continue to commit to the sport, and congratulations on the 100 years. So we're almost ready to go. We've got 3 big races across 3 different categories to come this afternoon. That's all ahead of us here on the Shannon Speed Series. It is the GT Festival at Phillip Island.
both cars to the queue, right over to me, got me the unit off. By that time I knew about 90 actually, but then all three of us go off on the cameras and load up the unit, and then I'll just go ahead and get the ones that are on the sticks. And go like you do, scaffold, you and marking the scaffold. Sound like a plan? And then we'll come back and we've got to go and go. We've got to take the can in. That's the easiest one. Thanks, buddy. Bye.
The Porsche pathway is having a little moment in the sun, and rightly so, as some incredibly determined and fast young racers get ready to take to the track for the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia season opening round for 2025. It's been a proud part of the Shannon Speed Series for some time now, and Shannons continue to be wonderful partners of our events right around the country, and they have a little something that you want to be a part of.
Shannons is giving motoring enthusiasts the chance to win a trip to the UK to experience one of the world's greatest motoring events, the 2026 Goodwood Festival of Speed. Join racing legends and iconic cars in a celebration of motorsport and car culture. The 11-day trip for two includes airfares, luxury accommodation, car hire, Goodwood Festival of Speed hospitality tickets, and $10,000 spending money for eligible Shannons Club members. Plus, win a new Indian motorcycle sport chief in maroon metallic. To enter, take out new Shannons insurance on your special car, daily drive, bike or home. Go online or call Shannons on 13 46 46.
And delighted to be joined now by the voice of that commercial in Richard Crail, written, spoken and authorised. I'm just about to call the number so I can be a part of that awesome prize. 75 years of Formula One they're celebrating at Goodwood this year. That will be, I mean, whoever is very lucky enough to win that, you're off to a special one. It's a great event any time, but that one will be one to remember. Highlights for you of qualifying for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge, held under clear skies here at Phillip Island. A little bit cool when we arrived here at the track this morning, some gusts of wind about, and there was a fascinating trans-Tasman battle. A couple of Kiwis laid down some markers that would lock out the front row, but boy, there are some Aussies, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for saying this, that want to ensure this crown stays on the quote-unquote mainland.
You are spot on, Rusty. Thank you. Nice to be here. Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge putting on a show. That was Damien Flake with a big brake lock up down at turn 4. It's the same for Quimby, the Class B pace setter for Cup Car Engineering. And there are a few wild moments as people battled a crosswind, struggling to get the cars turned. Padiachi had a spin down at turn 4 as well, and that was the spot catching out a lot of people under brakes. But it was a great qualifying session, a real shootout between a bunch of fast young racing car drivers, and a group of them led the way for a good chunk of the 30-minute qualifying session. In the end, it was this young man, Willie Exton, the reigning GT4 New Zealand champion over the summer. He's linked up with TechWorks Motorsport in a car that Ronan Murphy has raced in Sprint Challenge in the past, and they've put together a really good program there with Rob Wood's team, and he was the first one to score a championship point in the brand new Michelin Sprint Challenge season, looking to follow in the footsteps of Callum Hedge and Marco Giltrap, former Kiwi champions of this series. He qualified on pole. There was a little bit of news though, and if you've seen the results from qualifying, the grid looks a little different, because Tom Bewley, who qualified second, and Lockie Bloxon, who qualified fourth, both got penalties for impeding in qualifying, 3 grid positions each. which means Jake Santa Lucia moves to the outside of the front row. Tyler Greenbury will start alongside Ryan Casher on the second row. Bewley back to 5th alongside Hunter Robb. James Lodge out of 7 with Ramu Farrell, the Pro-Am class leader, out of 8th. Then Bloxham and Kamal Murat on debut out of 10th position. So watch for Lockie to pass some cars from the 5th row of the grid in this first timed race of the weekend. 2 shorter sprints, of which this is one, and then an enduro to round out the weekend on Sunday afternoon. So, to continue your across-the-ditch rivalry, it's Australia versus New Zealand on the front row of the grid, Rusty.
Now, Ramu was fast on Friday, but we didn't see the same kind of progression, if you will, or trend on Saturday morning. So, starting a little further back than we perhaps anticipated. I'll tell you, someone who's been a quiet achiever here has come across from driving a Peugeot in TCR, Ryan Casher, starting out at 3rd position in this race. A very professional young man, hails from Queensland, went to school, in fact, not all that far from Queensland Raceway. We'll be going there as a part of our Speed Series tour in 2025. Has made the switch to this class in an excellent 3rd spot for the start of this race.
Yeah, he's been really impressive with DNA Autosport coming into the category last year, and they've expanded their operations into Carrera Cup as well with a Pro-Am program. So this is a really exciting thing, that Sprint Challenge isn't just for new drivers. New race teams get an opportunity as well to cut their teeth here and then step up into the main game of One Make Porsche Racing.
Saw Oscar Piastri making the joke about doing some time on one of Jeremy Clarkson's tractors. That got him out of trouble at the Grand Prix. This young man here, fresh from winning the GT4 crown in New Zealand, has raced in '86, but in the time where he's been, that racing driver and trying to do extra work and bits and pieces, not uncommon for him to have been on a tractor on the South Island. So William Exton has arrived here, having worked with the Giltrap group, having worked with the Evans family over there, and that's a really great, period of learning for him. And he has, with TechWorks, started this championship in perfect fashion. So Exton alongside Santa Lucia for this one. Casher and Greenbury on row 2. Watch for Tom Bewley as well, former '86 champion, who, with that penalty Richard detailed before, dropped from the front row in qualifying and will start on row 3, in fact, alongside a countryman in Hunter Robb. So great Trans-Tasman battle about to unfold in this championship. Some great names have come through it over the years. Matt Campbell, just one of many that have gone on to great things. Often they'll progress from this to the main Carrera Cup class. And you can expect, I think, with more than 20 cars in this field, this will be one of the closest fought series in Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge in this country. Revs Rives, the magic 6-cylinder Porsches. Good start by Santa Lucia. The Dexion entry gets gripped up and away he goes. He's got the run down into turn 1 for the first time. Exton's in fact dropped back another spot and is clinging to second. He can't hold it. Back to 3rd.
That is all experience from Jake Santa Lucia in the Sonic 777 car. 2nd year in the championship, launched to perfection from the outside of the front row and drove the car down towards turn 1. A little bit of inexperience catching Exton out, because Tyler Greenbury's gone from the 2nd row of the grid to get himself up to 2nd in the Edge Designer Holmes car. It's busy behind. Look at the fight from the drone for 3rd, 4th and 5th. And a big brake locker from Ryan Casher, who bowls it down towards the old Grand Prix circuit, all the way around, down the escape road. Scratch him out of the contenders list for this one.
And that helps Tom Bewley. Picks up a spot in the process in that Duracell entry you can see there. So we continue on. Our front runners, Santa Lucia and Greenbury, they're bolting already. Look at the ground they've made on that colder rubber. They know how to work it, don't they? And they're pushing it. They're leaning on it at the moment.
So these two, the two more experienced drivers in the field. I mean, Santa Lucia in his 2nd year. Greenbury's got much more racing experience broadly. A huge lockup from Damien Flack, Pro-Am contender. He's 13th at the moment in the 99 car, down towards MG. So experience paying off early, even if it is only 1 year. And Greenbury is looking racy in that beautiful metallic blue, chrome blue car as he chases the Dexon entry down. 1 lap down, 21 minutes of racing to go.
What a sight as those Porsches head down to turn 1 at the end of the Gardner Straight into Dewan Corner. Now we're starting to see Exton recovering, getting a little bit closer to Greenbury there. You can see him. Farrell holding down 4th spot ahead of Bewley.
Yeah, what a start for Ramu Farrell. His opening lap has been outstanding. He's jumped all of the pros that were between him and 8th on the grid up to 4th. Helped a little bit by Ryan Casher sending it down the escape road here at 4 on the opening lap. He, by the way, has tumbled down the field to 16th position, Ryan. There he is in the 79 car, so he's going to get some passing experience in his first Michelin Sprint Challenge race. What a start, Ramu Farrell, though. He is exceptionally quick. Won a bunch of races in the Pro-Am class last year. Missed a couple of rounds, so wasn't a title contender, but shaping up for that this year as his 2nd year with Jones Motorsport.
Exton starting to light up the timing monitor. Fastest we've seen, early days in this race, but quickest so far in the 2nd sector. Farrell going with him here too. Best in the middle part of the lap. Now, Krause's just alluded to some of the classes that we have within Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. So Farrell doing a great job from an AM perspective, and best of our B-class runners, currently 12th, that's Quimby.
Yeah, in the older spec car, so that has a performance gap between these 991.2 generation GT3 Cup cars at the front of the field. He's doing an outstanding job to be that far up the order. And all of a sudden, Greenbury's race has turned from attack to defence. He started to look in the rearview mirror because Willie Exton is applying the pressure. And that might just give Santa Lucia at the front of the field an opportunity to have a little breather and just build that margin without worrying about attack from behind. Jake had a couple of top 5 finishes last year in his rookie season in Sprint Challenge. 2nd time, often the charm in this category. Come back for a 2nd year, put into practice everything you learnt in year 1, and then often that's the year where you build your championship campaign. Mick and Maria Ritter, the fabled Sonic Motor Racing team, have got big raps on this young kid. 21 years of age from this part of the world, a graduate from their Formula Ford program. Oh, and Greenbury with a huge moment on the exit of Siberia. Dropped a wheel off on the exit, cuts the corner a little bit at the hay shed. He is hanging on to the number 6 at the moment.
And that's incentivised Exton. He's used a little bit more track there, so he senses that maybe Greenbury is not quite, let's not say 6s and 7s, but has just had a little moment, and Exton wants to make the most of that. Now, Farrell's has dropped back a fraction because Bewley is lighting up the timing monitor in behind him. So let's just keep a little watch on that fight for 4th place as well.
Get a lap time check this time around. The lap record, 1:31.1. Some in the paddock talking that it could go because the conditions are perfect for very, very fast lap times. Bewley, the quickest driver, 1:31.14, marginally off Oscar Target's lap record here in Sprint Challenge. So the pace is hot this weekend.
About to maybe join that group is Hunter Robb as well in 6th place. Need to watch out for Lockie Bloxham as again he's got his hands full here.
Exton's then tried to swap ends on him through the southern loop. Rear tried to overtake the front. There was a big, big fistful of opposite lock being thrown at the 42 car. This is good stuff. This is going to be the season, Rusty, in Sprint Challenge. And it will be any one of this group of 7 or 8, maybe 9 drivers at the front of the field on any given weekend are going to be at the pointy end of Michelin Sprint Challenge. It is going to be such a cool season.
I think we will look back on it and talk about not just one standout per se. He's gone wide. Santa Lucia's lost it. Was comfortably in the lead out of Siberia. The run up to Lukey Heights, that got wild. Keeps it off the fence, but waves goodbye to the lead in the process. Greenbury in the front now.
And now Exton with great opportunity because he's got a pace advantage at the moment over the number 6 car. But can he find his way past the experienced Tyler Greenbury? Ramu Farrell up to 3rd place outright. Santa Lucia will continue onwards. And that started at the hay shed. Slid it out wide and lucky to avoid a monumental accident there because it is such a fearsome part of road. And now Exton looking down the inside for the lead at turn 1 and passes Tyler Greenbury. The Kiwi in front, 3 different leaders in 2.5 Ks.
How's the commitment into turn 1? Doing corner and makes it work. Bewley on the back of Farrell now for 3rd place. So a bit going on in this race was the high shot that we saw. What went wrong for Santa Lucia? Did he get maybe out on the white line, fractionally on the grass, and then lost it from there. Bewley looks down the inside of Farrell. They go side by side at Miller Corner. He'll be on the outside for Siberia. Ramu hangs on to it.
And now goes to the other side at Siberia, but there's no room there. But great respect from Ramu Farrell. He gave him racing room up the inside. Really rate that, but it's cost him. He struggled on the exit of Siberia. There's been a mistake there from the Jones Motorsport car. Bewley's got himself up to third.
Hunter, Rob, Lockie blocks them. They sense an opportunity. They're all over him there. Look at this. To come back to that point, we will look back, I reckon, on 2025 with multiple highlights. Not just one racer. There's going to be a lot of stories. It will be a nail-biting run to the ultimate race that determines the title, you sense.
So we take a deep breath, and the leaders 1, 2, 3 with a little margin between each other. And then this battle pack now for 4th, 5th and 6th place with Bloxham all of a sudden looking really racy. He weren't with us for qualifying earlier today, doing double duties this year in Porsche Painted Dixon Carrera Cup and Michelin Sprint Challenge. Grid penalty for impeding in qualifying, so he's recovered from that and now right with this leading group. Hunter Rob in front, got some experience in the Cup car over the New Zealand summer with Jones Motorsport. They went and ran at Topor at the opening round of Somerset GT New Zealand in a same spec car that they're racing here to get some miles. Right, let's unpick this. Watch the leader, very wide at high speed. It's a 230k an hour approach to Lukey Heights in a Cup car. And he was just a couple of car widths wide and it fired him across. And then this was the pass. Exton with a toe, 275 k's an hour into turn 1 and slices down the inside.
From those highlights, the one that we also didn't quite see there was Ryan Casher going off on the opening lap down at turn 4. He's recovered to nearly be in the top 10, chasing Jackson Rooney at the moment. Casher is back to 11th.
How good is one mate Porsche racing? It's wild.
Yes, thanks. I'll have some of those.
Yes. Hook it into my veins. And now there's some fast lap times happening now. They've all sort of settled down a little bit from that warring that was going on. So Exton will lead the race. 13 minutes to go. 31.5 for the leader. Quickest lap of the race, Ramu Farrell, or quickest lap for him, personal best in 4th. So he's got his head down and eyes forward, not having to fend off from Hunter Rob in behind. And then Lockie Bloxham 6. James Lodge up to 7th. Has been a little quiet achiever in this one. So he's up a couple of spots. Kamal Murad as well into 8th position. Graduate from US F4 open wheel racing. The Cup Car Engineering. Harburg up to 9th. So the cover shop entry going well. And then Rooney rounding out the top 10.
Talked to Lodge on Friday, just didn't feel like he was fully getting the maximum out of the Michelin tyre just yet. Just a little learning for him, so that on balance is actually very good, and he's continuing to bolt together personal bests down there in 7th place. So it's William Exton who leads the way from Greenbury, Bewley, Farrell and Rob. They're your top 5 season opening race of Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia.
Over Lukey Heights they go. I was pausing for the tortured screech of Michelin tyres over the top there. They sound like they are hanging on. The pace is properly hot. They are driving these cars very hard, but Exton now has just eked out 7 or 8 tenths of a second over Tyler Greenbury. So the heat's gone out of that lead battle momentarily, but we're seeing little mistakes just drag you back to the pack so quickly. It's an ebb and flow kind of race, this.
Fastest lap of the race belongs to Bewley so far with a 1 minute 31.14. Just on the Michelin rubber and what they have available to them for the weekend, and you outlined the amount of races we have here this weekend at Phillip Island. Is there a little bit of stuff that starts to creep in here about, okay, if that's the best we've got, we need to look after this. Big Sunday still to come.
Yeah, 100%. And there's 2 brand new sets of tyres, but race 3 is a 45-minute mini enduro. And this place can be hard on tyres. The right-hand side tyres at this circuit especially cop an absolute pounding. So you want to make sure that you've got your cleanest dirty pair of socks for that last race on Sunday, so you can perform in the Jim Richards Enduro Cup race that will round out the weekend. And that can make or break who gets on the overall podium. It's not individual race trophies, it's a round result. So you need to be consistent over the course of the weekend. So yeah, they'll be thinking ahead to that, going, right, what are we going to have left to work with in race 3?
Apologies, I think I've got a pair of those socks on at the moment. Right, so
That's all I've got.
Exton from Greenbury by 0.8 of a second. You're watching the fight there. Ramu Farrell holds down 4th spot, best of our AM competitors, and he's ahead of Hunter Robb, who's energised here in that car 69. Lockie Bloxham is running right with them. Bewley's found a little bit of breathing space in the Duracell entry in 3rd, but has lost ground relative to Greenbury. So here comes Hunter Robb on the outside though for turn 1. So can Farrell hold on to this? I reckon he's got it. Robb's got it. Big, brave move from the Kiwi and goes deeper at 1 and makes it work.
And you get squeezed if you're on the inside there. So in theory, it's the right place to be. In reality, not quite so much, because you can carry so much more car speed on the racing line, which is going around the outside there at turn 1. So if you're on the inside, you get pinched down to the apex of that very, very fast, high-speed commitment corner. Now, Greenbury has come back to Willie Exton in this. So the margin has come down. It was almost a full second 2 laps ago. And now Greenbury's got to within 3/10. But, hey, it's basically a cup car width between them now. So this is another good battle for the lead with 10 minutes to go. And Bewley will be sitting back in that Team Porsche NZ entry in 3rd place, just going, righto, you two. You can go at it, because I'm in the right place here to watch what happens at the front.
Given the quality of the field that we have here, that's actually quite smart. If you're buying a ticket to rock solid results, I mean, if he can't get close enough to challenge those two for the lead, a 3rd place, and if you can keep bolting those, keep adding them to the point score as the season goes on, that will be another story of this championship.
I'd like to get on some of those tickets, if you don't mind, to the end of the race. I never know where to buy them, Rusty.
They're often in the commentary, aren't they? So
Exton, Greenbury, Bewley, Robb and Farrell, the top 5. Lockie Harburg still 2nd in Pro-Am and 9th outright, with defending champion Sprint Challenge Oscar Target on the headsets this weekend. And Daniel Quimby still leads the way in Class B and running an outstanding 11th outright.
Season opener for the Shannon's Speed Series, wherever you're watching right around the world. And this is the first race of the 2025 season for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. So Exton's lead is now down to 0.6 of a second over Greenbury. Bewley, who you'll see emerge there a moment ago, just as they come through Siberia, holding down that 3rd place. And it's Hunter Robb, Ramu Farrell, best of our AM competitors. And we were just highlighting there before, Quimby, an excellent 11th place, best of the B-class runners, and his lap times relative to the newer machines are actually quite impressive, given it's an older spec car.
Yeah, Gen 1 991 GT3 Cup car gave away about 35-40 horsepower to the Gen 2 car, and a bit of aero performance as well. So they're genuinely about 1.5 seconds a lap slower. The 991 Gen 2 car was a big step forward for one mate Porsche Racing, and still regarded by a lot of drivers as the favourite. They just loved this era of GT3 Cup cars. The 992 is the current Carrera Cup, and it is an awesome bit of kit. Much closer to a full-blown GT3 car that we see in World Challenge Australia this weekend.
Back we go to Ramu Farrell. That gap has increased a bit, hasn't it, relative to Tom Bewley.
Fallen back into the clutches of James Lodge, another GR86 Toyota graduate. Seems to be a pathway now is to come from the 86s, the GR Cup, into Sprint Challenge, and then potentially up into Carrera Cup following that. Lodge, one of them. Ryan Casher was champion of the Toyotas 2 years ago. We've got the reigning champion monochrome GT4 in Max Gagan from One Mate Toyota Racing as well. Great to see a bunch of them here in Cup cars and performing well, and it gives you such a good grounding, that GR Cup, with wheel-to-wheel combat style racing, that you probably don't want to get so much of the combat in the Porsche, but hard, intense motorsport, very much the same.
And for many of the newcomers to this class, it's been about how they can get miles in, a bit of of time off over summer before they got going with this year's championship to get acquainted with the cars, or as close as they can to what the Porsches are like. So Bewley, for example, doing a couple of outings in the GT series in New Zealand in a similar car in order to prep and be ready for it.
Farrell doing a great job here, holding the lead in Pro-Am. 5th outright is a huge performance. And doing an outstanding job to lead that class, that race within a race in one-make Porsche racing. Let's go down to pit lane. Here's Christopher Stubbs.
Thank you very much, Richard Crail. Marcus Flack is alongside me. Dad Damien is out there racing at the moment. You've been out there previously yourself. Tell us, how's Dad going? Richard has said when people say they're making a cameo, it's nearly always more than that. Has he got the taste back again, do you think?
Oh, of course. I don't think you ever lose the taste, especially at his age and being around it so long. So he's actually doing a pretty good job. I think we're running 3rd at the moment in his class. So it's not bad for a bloke who's been out of the seat for 10 years.
And Carrera Cup for you this year. I mean, you've raced overseas, you're racing all sorts of things, America, Europe. Carrera Cup on the podium at F1, it's a great start, mate.
Yeah, well, we've had a great start to the season for myself and then coming along to help Dad and as well on top of that. So it's been a good year so far.
GT4, you got the title last year in the class with Tommy Heyman. Gee, he's having a nice weekend, carrying on with that so far here too.
Yeah, well, Tom's a great driver and it was great being alongside him last year and I've got fully behind him to try and do it again this year.
Marcus, great to see you. We'll let you get back with the headset on to cheer on Dad.
Thank you.
He went from the Carrera Cup at Sydney Motorsport Park in recent weeks on the Sunday night, straight after things wrapped up, to collect an all-important trophy at the Motorsport Australia 2024 Awards Night there. Now, just while we were chatting with Chris and Marcus, there was a moment for Lodge, who was dropped down to 15th. We haven't seen the cause of that, but when the car limped away from turn 4, some all-important or some telltale smoke from the right rear, and you and I both sort of winced. Was there contact that may have caused that? And the carcass is gone. So that tyre's not been able to last because of the rubbing on the bodywork, I think, for the limp back lap to the lane.
Yeah, so that's running on the rim now, and the sidewall of the tyre is all that's left. You know, Michelin sidewall's doing a very good job supporting the rear of that. Otherwise, it'd be dragging the transaxle and the 3.8 litre flat 6 on the tarmac. So it's done a good job. This is Damien Flack we're looking at there, 2nd car in queue. Blue and black. Marcus raced in Sprint Challenge before graduating up into Carrera Cup, and as Stubbsy quite rightly said, on the podium at the Australian Grand Prix, which has been a bit of a happy hunting ground for Marcus. 2 years in a row he's had success at Albert Park. He's a fast young driver, young Flacky. I'm looking forward to that. I spoke to Damien before this race and he said, I was focusing so hard on all the little race car driver stuff, like get the car into turn 1, apexes, braking points and all that. He said, I actually didn't get a lap together because he was focusing too much on the little stuff. And he said, all that is just me being really rusty. And he said, racing will be different. I don't need to worry about that ultimate lap time. I can just get in the battle and enjoy it. And that's what he's doing now. So as his son so correctly pointed out, up to 12th position and 3rd in the Pro-Am class, so doing a nice job, Damien Flack.
He's chasing a young racer here in Jackson Rooney too, a Kiwi who's been able to stitch together this drive. I think it's only for a couple of rounds at the moment. He's got a little bit of support from the Tony Quinn Foundation, was one of the star rookies in the year that Tom Bewley won the crown, so nice to have him as a part of it as well. So Rooney currently holding down 11th place there. As we look at the right of your screen there at the damage to the Lodge car,
that's had a significant impact just below the B pillar there and the tub, the rear tub of that car in front of the rear axle. So I'm not surprised it's torn the belt out of the right rear Michelin.
Stand, please.
Do they throw another tyre on and at least get it out there to circulate, or is the car too badly damaged? Ash Seawood Motorsport going to work. That team has brought young James up from the GR Cup, as we were talking about. Let's see if we can unpick this. So
Ramu Farrell.
Yeah, now Pro-Am leader. Well, and that explains why he's tumbled down the leaderboard, because Lockie Harburg has now assumed the class lead in that. Now, the big story there, as we have a look at Damien Flack going the big send down the inside of Rooney, The big story there is that Harburg won the Pro-Am Championship last year without winning a race. Now, Farrell is behind him, 2.1 seconds behind Lockie Harburg. Could he win his first ever Pro-Am race in Michelin Sprint Challenge?
I think we'll hear the cheers here in the
Oh,
commentary
would you?
box quite a distance away. So Exton from Bewley and Hunter Robb, they're your top three now. Can you believe it? Look at the top three as we're continuing to watch the fight going on here at the moment. This is for second place. These two have gone at it in Toyota 86 competition across the ditch there before. The point I'm trying to make is there is a real want to keep this title in Australia. Right now, the top three are all Kiwis.
Written, authorised and spoken by the
I'm an Australian.
honorary member
I'm
for
an
Hawke's
Australian.
Bay
Stop it.
via Sydney. Yeah, good battle. So Bewley has just dropped off a little bit as the race has gone on, and Hunter Robb's car has come on strong. How's the team representation too? So Willie Exton leading the way for TechWorks, Earl Bamber Motorsport, Team Porsche New Zealand in second, Jones Motorsport in third, Tyler Greenbury Racing in fourth, McElroy Racing in fifth place, and Cup Car Engineering in sixth. Awesome diversity. DNA Motorsport in seventh with Ryan Casher. That's been a good comeback trail as well from Ryan after that drama down at turn 4 early in the race. Remember, went down the escape road. He's recovered to seventh. That's a huge drive.
Clock's going to count out here. I think we might be close to being on our way home. Hunter Robb was seriously in speedway mode out of MG Corner. It was like a sprint car, all gassed up, and didn't somehow lose all that much ground to Bewley. The gap between Exton and Bewley, though, is out to 3.2 seconds.
Yeah, this has been a consummately professional drive from Willie Exton at the front of the field. Greenbury dropping back to fourth place, but he'll still take a lot of hope out of this performance following his first season, but he's been successful in V8 touring cars. Big moment for Bewley. Couldn't get the car stopped for turn 4 and just got it turned in, but fortunately for the first time in a couple of laps, Robb wasn't close enough to squeeze his car up the inside there and take advantage of that mistake.
Leader had crossed the line, I think, before the clock counted out. So this would therefore be, we understand, from Motorsport Australia Race Control, the second last lap. And they should get the last lap board to go this time. So it does give Hunter Robb another little opportunity here to regather in this fight with Bewley if he can. So the battle for second is not over. For Exton, it's just a case of managing, looking after that 2.6 second advantage on the run to the line. Few of them were getting loose here on Friday afternoon, weren't they? I went and watched on the outside of the final turn. Fantastic to watch them coming through there. But there was a few of them that had some heart-stopping moments. Here's Ryan Casher that Richard's been talking about. Bit going on in behind him here too. That's Ramu Farrell back up to ninth place. But importantly, it's against Lockie Harburg. So we were hoping that Harburg might get the win for Pro-Am, but the 91, I think, has got his hands full here at the moment. Here's Farrell on the outside.
Now, Ramu's got to get past John Papantonio, who's down in 20th position, and that's just a little moment there that'll slow the Jones Motorsport car down with that cool camo livery. How about the debris on the outside of the road at the southern loop? The car will be understeering as it gets on the marbles on the outside there. There's a slide on the exit. That might have been the little break that Lockie Harburg needed.
Oh, Bewley!
No.
Bewley's gone off. Down at turn 4. He was fighting with Hunter Robb. That's costly. A second place gone.
And he's coming behind. Lockie blocks him now. So a long way down the order. Further back, Jake Santa Lucia on Lincoln Evans in 13th and 14th position. Out in front though, Willie Exton. What a professional performance this has been from a very professional, fast young Kiwi. He is going to win the opening race of a brand new season.
Won't have much time for driving the Harvester because he's on course to do some good things with his motor racing career. Off the back of winning the GT4 title across the ditch, he opens the account for Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia with a race win for Will Exton. Hunter Robb set to grab second spot and third to Tyler Greenbury. Where in the end for Bewley? Bewley, I think, in 5th place behind Lockie Bloxham.
And Lockie Harburg is going to do it. Finally wins a race in Pro-Am. The cover shop car there gets it. 8th position, beats Ramu Farrell, his first win in the Pro-Am class.
Congratulations, that's an awesome story. 8th outright as well. And Quimby in the B-class car gets into the top 10 outright in car 24. That's another highlight underscore. Very good drive in this race.
There weren't so many best on ground performances today. You'd put that as best on ground, but it's hard to pick from this one. What a dramatic opener to the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia. Ramu Farrell with bits dangling off the back of the Ren Auto Jones Motorsport 888 car. 9th and 2nd in the Pro-Am class. But well done, Willie Exton. The Kiwis on top 1 and 2. Tyler Greenbury through all that. He led, he was 2nd, he was 3rd, and that's where he finished. Lockie Boxham from the back of the 10 to 4th, really solid. Bewley at the end there ends up 5th. Kamal Murad, quite achiever in that. Cup Car Engineering in 6th. Ryan Kasher, after an off, recovers to 7th. Harburg wins the Pro-Am class in front of Ramu Farrell in 9th place, and Quimby wins Class B 10th outright. That is a huge drive, as Rusty touched on. But a perfect start for Willie Exton. That's exactly what they would have ordered in his camp. And I know Rob Woods and Astrid and the team at TechWorks will be absolutely thrilled with that drive.
Highlights for you of the season opening race. Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge Australia. Great start by Santa Lucia. Richard Crale with us in commentary and talking about just that experience coming to the fore. Got the grip. And Greenbury was also very strong too. Another to use that experience. Some smoke signals down at turn 4, and that was for Ryan Kasher, who would ultimately fight his way back to 7th place. This was Santa Lucia, the race leader, comfortably in front, loses it at the hay shed.
Lucky to get away with one there, and then a huge battle for the lead unfolded. Tyler Greenbury found himself in front for his own race team in the Edge car. Then down the inside at turn 1 at 250k, Will Exton sliced down the inside for TechWorks, and that was a race lead he would never lose.
A couple of questions to be answered in the wake of this race. At one point, Bewley was on course for a 2nd place finish. Hunter Robb's drive in the 69 was very impressive, surged forward, and this commits at turn 1, gets by Ramu Farrell.
It was a big move. This was a late moment down the end. James Lodge and Farrell had contact. It cost Lodge a bunch of positions with a carcass coming off the Michelin on the right rear of that car. He limped back to ASM in pit lane, and then right at the very end, Tom Bewley off. We didn't see the start of that. The Team Porsche New Zealand car ended up down the road and down the order as a result. Huge win though for the young New Zealander on his Porsche debut. Gets the victory in race 1 of Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. Pro-Am for the first time went to Lockie Harburg.
I know it sounds like a very obvious thing to say, but also to minimising blues, minimising errors this year will be another big talking point. I can only but think Santa Lucia will be kicking himself. He had a comfortable race lead there. When you look back on it, carried all that speed through at the hay shed, and could very well have hung on for the win. Looked like it.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a championship where if you finish every race in 3rd or 4th position, I think you're probably going to win the title. It's going to be that broad and that competitive. Some great drives through. So Jake Santa Lucia, after that enormous off, and fortunate to not end up in a much, much bigger accident there, ended up in 13th position. Lincoln Evans 14th in the end. Lodge, a DNF, that's costly, 0 score for him. And then Tom Bewley, after that off right at the end of the race, ended up P5 there. So a podium went begging on what is a stunning day. We're continuing to look forward to Monochrome GT4 Australia and then GT World Challenge Australia powered by AWS still to come this afternoon.
Was that moment for Bewley, an unforced error of some kind, or some sort of pressure maybe coming from Rob? Wonder what happened there. Need to unpack that, and we'll do that. We've got a big day of Porsche racing to come your way tomorrow as a part of our coverage, but as Richard said, we're not done here today. A couple of hours of competition to come for both GT4 and GT3, and we'll hear from our race winner very shortly, Will Exton.
It's turned out to be a cracker day. There's some pretty severe weather hit about midnight last night, lashing rain and very, very strong winds. And at that time, I think everyone thought, oh, we're going to have a very Phillip Island kind of day. But it's turned out to be a stunner. And there is a great crowd here too. Cars lining the circuit all the way down towards turn 1. and turn 2, and then those favourite watching spots around the back at Siberia and the Hayshed. Looking forward to hearing from our winners from that first Porsche race. So the Michelin Sprint Challenge with 4 rounds on the Shannon Speed Series this year.
Park and view, we love a bit of that.
So good.
Yeah, and proper, as is so often the case with the Shannon Speed Series, real enthusiasts too. Lots of people enjoying the variety of makes and marks, you know, dream machines that you'd love to have in your garage at home. And that's what's brought them out here on a Saturday. So can't wait to see what tomorrow will be like here. Fastest lap of that race did go to Bewley, a 1:31.148. Thought we might see that marker challenged at one point, but he's walked away with the quickest lap in our first race of the season here.
Sprint Challenge back with 2 races tomorrow, but right now let's celebrate a winner. Here's Stubbsy.
Thank you, Willie Exton. He's just getting pats on the back from Ryan Wood. Supercars driver has come down to say well done. It's all about the Kiwis down here. Willie, well done. Congratulations. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with the result. Interesting start. Need to get a better launch next time, but overall really happy. Managed to, you know, chip away at it and get the lead and just hold it there.
In terms of when Jake went off, where did you see that, and at what point were you aware of the opportunity that might be ahead early in that race?
Yeah, well, I saw it happening in front of him, in front of me. I just had to wait and see what happened with him, where we ended up. But yeah, it was disappointing for him, but yeah, it helped me.
Mate, there's something in the water in New Zealand. You guys dominating this class, and it seems like great camaraderie though between you all.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have 4 Kiwis over here. I think we all did a pretty good job in qualifying. But yeah, happy to take the top step.
Really a great start to the season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pretty happy race winner there with Chris Stubbs. There is a story emerging. We're going to chase it for you, and that is the pole sitter in GT3 appears to have copped a grid penalty ahead of the headline act this afternoon. That is Declan Fraser and Liam Talbot. We'll follow that story when we come back. GT4 racing here at the Island.